Hi, this is Ambi from Board Game Blitz, and today I'm going to talk about all the games I played in May of this year. So I log plays using the Board Game Stats or BG Stats app. I played 17 different games, 29 plays total. I'm going to quickly go over the games that I've played before, and then I'm going to go over the new to me games in slightly more detail. So I played 8 more games of Phantom Inc., which is a word party game. I'm getting a lot better at it. I was pretty bad at it, but I think I finally won as the spirit for the first time in May, so that was exciting. I played 2 more plays of The Loop, which was a review copy that I had gotten, and I talked about it on the podcast, but we also won that as well, so that was exciting. I played 2 plays of Rosetta the Lost Language on stream on Twitch. Crystal and I played it, so you can go check that out. That was also a review copy from a long time ago. I played 2 plays of my first adventure, Finding the Dragon, which is a RPG, like choose your own adventure storybook for toddlers. So I read that as bedtime stories for my kids. Oh, and then at KublaCon, we played 1 game. I played a game of 1889, History of Shikoku Railways, or Shikoku 1889. But this is the first 18xx game I've played in over a year. The last one was 1889 in like April of last year, so that was exciting. We got to play because we went to KublaCon without our kids for like a few hours, and we played. We actually ended early. We could have played through the full game, but we decided to call it early. But yeah, it was exciting playing 1889 again and playing an 18xx game again. It was a super close game too, like lots of exciting things happened. And I'm thinking about talking about it on the next podcast episode too. Oh, and if you don't know what 18xx games are, it's a series of games that are like economic, railroad simulation, and stock manipulation games. I have a series about the 18xx games that you can check out if you want more information on those. Another game that I hadn't played in a long time was Freedom the Underground Railroad. I had 1 play of that. So this is a cooperative game that's themed around your trying to free as many slaves as you can. And so the theme is something that like some people wouldn't want to play as a game, but the cards in the game have like a lot of history. Like with other historical games, you can learn a lot about history by reading through them. But in the game, you're working together to gather support tokens and also try to free as many slaves as you can. And each round, you're buying different tokens in order to do different things. Like you can get fundraising tokens, get support, buy support tokens, or you can have conductor tokens that can move the slaves around on the different paths up to Canada to try to free them. And then there's these slave catchers that are moving around that are going to be capturing the slaves and sending them back. So I really like the mechanics of the game too. And we actually did really well in our play of the game. We didn't lose any slaves and we freed as many as we could. And another game that we hadn't played in a long time that we played again was Dark Moon, which is a hidden identity game. It was originally made as BSG, Battlestar Galactica Express, but it's like a dice version of a BSG type game where you have hidden people that are bad and trying to ruin everything that's happening on this ship. And then the other people are trying to like fix everything and not die and then get to a certain ending. But the way all of the checks work is by you're rolling dice behind a screen, and the dice have 4 negatives and 2 positive sides. So like if you roll all negatives, that's bad because you have to submit dice. And so you roll your dice and then like put it in front, say like, oh, I got all negatives. And if you're bad, then it's like, oh, I got all negatives. Oh, but if you're good, it's like, oh gosh, now everyone thinks I'm bad. In our game that we played, Toby was one of the bad people, and he actually was like playing really well, like giving us positive points to like be the deciding factor. So he was helping us out too much. And so we were the good people. We won. I also played Project L, which I also haven't talked about. All these games that are not new to me are actually ones I hadn't talked about before, so I need to talk about them. So Project L is a engine building game. I actually got this as a review copy a couple of years ago and talked about it on the podcast. It reminds me kind of Splendor, but like there's polyominoes that you're taking and you're getting new polyominoes and you're like building them into these cards that have shapes. And then like once you build that card, then you can get a reward polyomino tile, and it's just like fun building out those tiles and getting new ones. And then games I played with my kids that I've played before, the Color Monster, Storytime Chess, and Nibble Munch Crunch. I've talked about those before. All right, so now new to me games. I played In the Palm of Your Hand twice. I actually talked about this on the podcast, so you can go listen there. But this is a review copy, and it's a party game where you're like guessing things, but the people are miming it in your hand. You're like have your eyes closed and they have objects that they're putting around in your hand and you have to feel what's happening, and you're guessing these Dixit type cards, so it's really hard. Then I played 2 plays of Orchard, a 9-card solitaire game. So this is a free print and play game. I streamed on Twitch, it's on there. I've started saving our Twitch videos of like gameplays as highlights so that they can stay forever. So you can go back and watch those videos if you're interested in the gameplay. But Orchard, a 9-card solitaire game, is 9 cards and you're like placing these cards that are orchard cards, they have like different colored trees on them, and you're trying to overlap the same colored tree. And it's like a grid of trees, and you're trying to like overlap the cards to get as many overlapping of the same color as you can. It's a quick puzzly solo game. I played Mexican Train Dominoes. My friend brought over a copy of that. I didn't like the game at all. It was very luck dependent. I guess I hadn't really played dominoes before, but it's like we just had what we had and we could only really play once at a time. But their copy had this cool train thing in the middle. Like the thing actually made noise, but we didn't use the noise because that would be annoying if it were playing the whole time. But like they had little train figures that you put up when like you each have your own domino pile that you play on, and then there's like a central one that everyone can play on. But like if you can't play on your turn, then yours becomes open, so you use a little train figure to show that yours is open and everyone can play on yours. But yeah, I didn't like the game. I also played the number, which is not my type of game. In the game you're like kind of bidding, not really, but like you're writing down a number, a 3-digit number, and then if your number doesn't match any digits, like any digits of your number don't match any digits of the numbers of the people that were below you. So like if I wrote 9, 8, 7 and no one below me used an 8 or a 7 in their digits, then I get to score mine. But if someone else had like a 1, 8, 9 or something, or 1, 8, 2, that used an 8, so mine would get canceled out. So you can like go down from highest to lowest and see which ones score. The highest scorer gets bonus points, and then when you score, you get points. But then when you score, you have to cross out the digits you used, and then you can't use those next time in like the next 4 turns. There's 3 rounds of the game, each are like 4 or 5 turns each. And then as the turns go on, the bonus points for having the highest is more. So you're like choosing between sniping by like doing a low number, but like lots of digits to try to knock out the people that are high numbers, or like trying to get that high number to get the bonus. I don't like those type of like kind of it's like, I don't know, but it wasn't for me, but I could see the appeal of the game. And I was doing really badly, but then like at the end, I finally got, like I did the same number 3 times in a row and then finally scored it on the last one and got a lot of points on that one. I got like 20 something points in one turn, but it still was not enough to put me in any placing. And then a couple of new games that I played with my kids, Rory's Story Cubes. So this is like a storytelling game. So I kind of, I marked it as a play with my kids because he was actually telling a story. You roll dice, they have different images on them, and then you can use those to help you tell the story. So he was actually like rolling the dice and he started telling a story, and then like used one of the dice to say like, oh, this image happened. But his story was not really related to anything on the dice really, but he kind of started using it, and then he passed me the dice and told me to roll. And so he was like rolling the dice while telling the story and kind of using it. So I counted that as a play because it's almost pretty much what the game is. And then Loco, Lingo, Fastgrasp is a hobby game with a bunch of different game modes. We played like the easy mode, but in the game there's a bunch of different wooden items like a squirrel, or there's a car, or a train, stuff like that. And so you're supposed to like read a story, and then when that item gets read, so like the squirrel went up the tree, then you grab the squirrel. And you're supposed to grab that as fast as you can. So I just read it. So like I read the poem and then told them, oh, grab the squirrel now. And then they grabbed it. So it wasn't really like playing it as a competitive game or anything, but they played with that. And then they matched up the little figures to the picture of the figures in the book. So yeah, they like that. There's a lot of little figures to play around with. All right, so that's it for my games of May. Sorry, that was a little longer than I expected it to be. I'll talk about my favorite now, right? Let's see, my favorite new to me game was Orchard, a 9-card solitaire game. I liked that. It was a fun, quick solo puzzly game. For solo games, I like the puzzly type games, and I like them to be really easy to set up and very quick, and that's what that was. And I think my favorite not new to me game was 1889. That's my favorite 18xx game, and it's like the one that I know the rules to the best and the one that I played the most. And then it was just great being able to play it again. I was actually like not wanting to play it at first because I haven't played in a long time, and I was like not looking forward to it taking a while and stuff. But like once I got into it, it was super exciting, and like, oh, it was, it's so good. But what were your favorite games that you played in May? Let me know in the comments, and if you like this video, make sure to like it, subscribe for more, and check out my other videos here. Thanks for watching Board Game Blitz. Bye!